Welcome to the MemberWise Best Practice series. This video is brought to you today by the MemberWise Network, the leading free-to-join best practice network for membership and association professionals. We hope that you enjoy this great presentation, and for further information about our growing network, please visit www.memberwise.org.uk.
This probably is a bit more of a straightforward session perhaps than the one we've just had, in that it is actually really relatively simple, and sometimes I feel like a bit of a fraud when I talk about advertising and sponsorship, because it isn't rocket science. But for a lot of our clients, certainly, after membership fees, training and development, etc., advertising and sponsorship is a huge sort of part of their revenue stream, and something which they're increasingly worried about. To tell you a little bit about me, I'm from Think, as Rich has just said. We're a membership publishing agency. Membership because we just specialise in membership organisations, publishing across the board of print, digital, events, etc. And we're an agency, in other words, we don't own any of our own titles. We've got 17 years of working with membership organisations, and we work with 38 organisations, as you can see here. We've got 5 sales teams, and they generate about £6 million across the year, across a variety of channels, including print, digital, recruitment, events, sponsorship, and also partnerships, on behalf of 12 professional membership bodies. And we have a separate team that deals with consumer membership bodies. We're multi-channel, as I'm sure everyone is these days. Everything you'd expect: print, online, e-newsletters, conferences, dinners, awards, exhibitions, events, etc. And my job is, this is what my clients basically say to me most of the time. We have one particular client who's a favourite of mine, who every year insists on increasing our targets by 20%, just for a bit of fun and just to see how we perform against them. I'm the commercial director of Think, and essentially my job and the 20 or so salespeople I have working for me, our job is to develop new revenue streams, increase revenues year on year for clients, increase yields year on year, build and deliver a sales strategy, and all of this has got to obviously be done in an appropriate, relevant, and engaging way. We're selling on behalf of professional membership bodies, often to people who are members of those organisations. And it used to be quite straightforward when I started out. We'd sort of sell some display advertising, sell shed loads of recruitment advertising, maybe sponsor some supplements, etc. But obviously that is all changed now, and along with the skills gap that everyone's facing in all other areas of your organisations, the sales teams are also suffering from a skills shortage, which comes down to training and education and understanding about the new opportunities there are out there. The world of advertising has changed, and we also all need to change with that. So what I've done first of all, just to give you a sort of an overview of, loads of our clients ask this question, which is, what's happening next year? Tell us what's going to happen next year on a sort of global basis. A lot of our clients in the professional sector we generate a significant amount of our revenues from international sales, international events, exhibitions, international members, etc. So what's happening globally? Spend is going up globally. Predictions are that this year it was gone up by 4.4%, and that trend's going to continue into 2017, where we're predicting it will be up 4.5% and up a further 4.6% globally in 2018. Mobile is the key to this growth. It's absolutely the market maker, accounting for 60% of all internet ads by 2018. So that's a very significant shift, and something certainly a lot of our clients are beginning to have a think about. Traditionals are in trouble. Straightforward desktop, display advertising, banners, etc. All newsprint, which won't come as a surprise to anyone, but also magazines in print certainly are facing probably the biggest challenge now. The challenge is really hitting this year and next. And possibly the most importantly, though, digital is having its day. It is now, and we can't afford to ignore it. In terms of the 23rd of June, quite interesting news, obviously, for most businesses, most membership organisations. was obviously the effect that Brexit's had on the advertising market, and specifically the advertising market in the UK. Following the results, Bellwether reduced its forecasts down to 0.2% growth for 2016 against an original growth of 3.3%, and they've predicted a minus 1.3% decline for 2017 versus their original prediction of 2.7% increase. Zenith are slightly more optimistic, downgrading UK growth in ad spend from 5.6 to 5.4%. Zenith forecasting 3.4% growth, down from 4% pre-Brexit. The Advertising Association, again, a little bit more optimistic, with 4.2% growth in 2016 and 3.8% growth in the following year. So overall, what does that mean for the UK advertising market, which is certainly where a great proportion of the spend is based, whether that's a global spend, a European spend, or a UK spend? Often a lot of the decision makers are still coming in the UK. Well, basically, it's showing a relatively static or small growth at best. Return on investment is return on investment, whereas yes, sort of Brexit is Brexit, ROI is ROI, and measurable sectors of advertising are certainly the key. That's where revenues are growing. Magazine and print are falling, as I've said, and those are predicted to be down by 6% in 2016 and by a further 7% in 2017. And that's certainly leading a lot of our clients, a lot of people we're talking to reconsider, to a certain extent, the frequency of their print title and how much money they're pumping into that as a standalone medium. But the UK has experienced significant digital growth over the recent years, and once again is a key indicator for us and most of our clients. Mobile now accounts for 30% of this revenue, compared to just 2% in 2010. And 68% of people report checking a mobile within 15 minutes of waking and going to sleep, which probably is like most of us in this room. Leading to the fact that you basically need a mobile-friendly, if not a mobile-first strategy when it comes to your advertising and your digital work. So what does this mean for professional membership associations? Long have we realised that professional membership organisations are quite a unique enigma, really, in the world of publishing, where commercial publishers have seen their revenues in print drastically reduced years and years ago. Membership organisations have managed to really retain their print revenues due to the fact that often they are the go-to lead body or lead organisation within a certain sector, and often the last place where advertising will drop off. So what about print? Well, it's pretty clear that print magazines are no longer going to support themselves the way that they used to, with pages and pages of huge, highly yielding recruitment advertising. Display is in sharp decline, so whereas print advertising used to be about lots of display pages, it's now about content-related advertising. It's about creative opportunities. That's what advertisers are looking for. Sponsored editorial, ad-get features, supplements, roundtables that we report in the magazine, special issues, annual issues, research-based content. That's what advertisers want to get behind in print and obviously in digital as well. Recruitment is breathing its last gasp. Obviously, we don't look for jobs in print anymore, but what we do look for is we look for careers advice. We look for agencies that are going to help us find the right jobs. So careers content is generally replacing display recruitment advertising, but obviously not in the same volume as it used to. And I guess the key thing is that print is now only part of the bigger strategy, but it can be used incredibly well and successfully to drive members, drive readers to your other digital channels very effectively if it's used properly. And I guess, amazingly, print still does have its place in the mix. I think probably if we were doing this sort of presentation 5 years ago, we would possibly assume that in 5 years' time, print would really have had its day. But In terms of what we're selling in print these days, it's not display and recruitment anymore. It's a whole range of different ad get opportunities, from specials, belly bands, gatefolds, false covers, advertorial, sponsored content, features, supplements, carrier sheets, polywrap, sponsored polywrap. They're all ways that you can try and get back some of the revenue that you're losing in terms of your yields from display and in terms of your market. So what's happening in digital? Well, interestingly, again, display is declining digitally. Straightforward banner ads, straightforward MPUs, skyscrapers, etc., are losing their appeal to advertisers. One, because of ad blindness. Increasingly, consumers just simply don't see those adverts. Two, because of ad blockers, which is another entire seminar, if anyone, or discussion, if anyone wants to come and talk about it. And again, content is king when it comes to revenue generation online. Thought leadership, white papers, research, etc. Innovative, creative content that advertisers can put their name behind and use to promote themselves. Again, it's also about segmented targeting, using channels such as e-newsletters, which are seeing huge growth in terms of their penetration into core market sectors, but also they offer a shed load of inventory at a very low cost to you. And this inventory growth can lead to significant increases in your overall pot, so they're definitely to be considered. Downloadable content as well from advertisers allows us to get to that sort of holy grail, which is data. That's what your advertisers are all looking for. They want access to your members, they want to know about your members, and they want data about your members. And that's something I'm sure has been covered here a lot, is all about CRM systems and data. The more data you have, the more access you can offer your advertisers, the more money you're going to get out of them. Solus mailings or e-newsletter takeovers are something that also should be considered in the mix. And obviously a job site is a very simple addition if you don't currently have one. And the number of off-the-shelf job platforms providers out there providing excellent job platforms at a range of different prices depending on your appetite to own that market or your interest in owning that market. Ad servers obviously are key to great analytics, but a lot of our clients and a lot of people we talk to don't have an ad server that can deliver all of the functionality that international and digital advertisers are looking for these days. And as I said before, data is certainly the holy grail from an advertising point of view. So digital, again, looking at the whole range of different things that we can sell digitally. It's not just display, it's native, it's sponsorship, it's video. Newsletters are now carrying display, native content, jobs of the month, sponsorship opportunities. The website, the opportunities are endless, from video through to online directories, interactive content. And obviously job sites don't just carry job advertising these days. There's lots of other opportunities to explore. In terms of events, interestingly, good old-fashioned face-to-face is still working for the advertisers, and that's one of the top of the agenda items when we're talking to advertisers about how they want to target your members. And events today have a much longer shelf life than they used to, with all of the pre-social media content and the post-downloadable content that's available online. And events often now, they have a shelf life of a year, with all of the seminars and programs and content being repeated and being available for download. Content, again, though, is core to revenue development. It's not just about flogging a few exhibition stands and a lanyard sponsorship. It's about getting your key advertisers involved in the content of your event. Often it's content that you might get someone to pay for anyway. There might be the publishers to your profession, training providers. They can all get involved in your content, working with your events development team. And once again, inventory growth can lead to significant increases. Regional and small events, often they're organised, we know by regional groups or volunteers. Again, with the right approach and the right strategy, those can be monetised too. Awards work obviously on many, many levels, as do roundtables, breakfast briefings, and a whole range again of new inventory. Once again, quick summary there of all the different types of inventory that we offer across the board, across portfolio, on behalf of some of our clients. In terms of we run some Remember research, which is basically trends in professional membership communications, and the recent report, which is available on our stand if anyone wants to grab a copy of it, has some interesting insights. 28% have seen an increase in income. This was the back end of 2015, and further 45% have seen advertising revenues remain the same. So there isn't this big growth as is reflected in the global outlook. But online revenues are on the rise, with 15% of those surveyed confirming a significant increase and 38% a small increase. But at the same time, what the research showed us is that a lot of organisations out there are not making the most of their advertising revenues because they simply don't offer some of the inventory that advertisers are now looking for. And that's something that, as I said, the digital change is happening, and you need to start thinking about whether you're going to offer that in the future. So I said I'd give you, in the thing, I'd put a couple of tips for you to take away. Great phrase from Michael Corleone in The Godfather: keep your friends close and your enemies closer. You've got to know your competition. Our sales teams, it's their absolute daily duty to get online and find out what the competition is up to. Who's advertising, who's sponsoring, what are they doing, what new products are they developing, what new awards are they introducing, what new events are they developing. We subscribe at Think to something in the region, I think it's about 240 different magazines, websites, and other membership bodies. You don't have to do that. We do that because we sell across a wide range of titles. But are you getting in your competitor data? Are you finding out what they're doing and where perhaps you're missing a trick and they are taking advantage of it? They are your biggest source of leads. Know your members. In order to find out who your competitors are there, you need to know more about your members. Many don't, a lot of our clients have loads of information, Acorn analysis, lots of member demographics and profiling, but often many aren't asking the right questions of their members when it comes to advertising. They're not asking things like, how much is your budget on X, Y, and Z? What are your spheres of influence? What does your team spend X, Y, and Z per year? Because that's the kind of information that advertisers are looking for. They don't really need to know, don't care really what their job title is. What they want to know is where their spheres of influence are and how valuable your members are as a universe to them as an advertiser. We have a client where in one of the bits of research we found out that this specific advertising research, that 35% of them have influence on fleet car spend and purchase, and we found out the budgets, and we worked out from the advertiser's point of view that the membership were spending or having influence on about £550 million worth of fleet cars a year. Put that information in front of the fleet car sector and they'll come rolling in. Give them a bit of content as well to advertise around that's relevant, appropriate for your membership, and once again you can bring in more money. And your salespeople need a fantastic media kit. Gone are the days where a couple of floppy bits of A4 black and white printout with your rate card and the classified size and a little bit about the number of members you've got. That just doesn't cut it anymore. Certainly not with the bigger key accounts, certainly not with the advertising agencies. So build a kit for your team. Give them demographics, give them analytics, give them geographical breakdown, give them the research I've just talked about, and then present it as well as you possibly can. Present it digitally, put it on the cloud, get it out, and make it accessible to as wide a range of people as possible. And during this research, look at the business disruptors in your sector. I think, certainly from our point of view, one of the most fascinating things we've seen in recent years, and the publishing industry has seen in recent years, is huge organisations that have been going for hundreds of years professionally having their heels nipped at by tiny small groups of business disruptors, mainly in the digital arena, where cost of entry is very low, where they are starting out gathering this data, concentrating on perhaps core niche sections of a bigger marketplace, but they're going for the high value end. So they're going for the CEOs or C-suites. Have a look at them, see what they're doing. Are there any in your sector? If they are, what are they doing? And can you do the same? Be innovative. Possibly difficult for some professional membership organisations because of your historic structures, but you've got to start thinking about opening up new channels and new inventory, and you've got to do it now. One of our clients in 2016, print was down 9%, as one would expect. Digital was fantastic, up 132%, but nowhere near made up for the shortfall from the print. And in fact, the whole pot just stayed the same. The only way we achieved that was by introducing new inventory. But what's 2017 looking like? Well, print will be static, even though we're introducing a lot more inventory, more round tables, more supplements, more ad-get features. Digital is going to be up a further 25%, and events will grow a further 7%. But we're only achieving that through new inventory and getting more money out of the existing advertisers. Nurture your key accounts. If you're lucky enough in your sector to have key accounts, some of the big training providers, obviously every sector is very, very different. One of the key things we suggest you do is identify what percentage of your total spend is coming from what percentage of your advertising base. If there are 8, 12, 25 key accounts, go and look after them. Give them access to information that other organisations aren't going to get as long as they spend a certain amount with you. We have one client who has a key account. 2015 spend was £80,000. 2016 forecast was 40 grand. No one knew why. No one had a clue. Agencies were just booking in the revenues. No one really knew what was going on. We put them into the key account program, which involved very, very simple terms, a couple of meetings with the editor of the title, with someone from the client end and a salesperson, getting to know their needs, what were their aims and objectives for the following year, what were they interested in achieving from their relationship with the organisation, and post the key account management, and that involved 2 meetings, spends up to £90,000. So they've increased on previous years, and they've doubled the forecast just through key account management. And as I said, VIP treatment for your big spenders. Give them access to things that other organisations aren't going to get, as long as they commit to you and commit to partnering with you during the course of the year, across events, across print, across digital. And one of the key things, obviously, that they're interested in is data and face-to-face. Face-to-face events where they sit down and talk to your members around a table, at an event, at a conference, and data, research and insights that only you can give them about the market that they're targeting. Number 8, the age-old segment. That's what advertisers are looking for. Gone are the days where we can just say, put an advert in the magazine, it goes out to 150,000 members. Yeah, but 60,000 of those are students, 30,000 are members, 20,000 are fellows, 8% are in the vertical target marker I want. That's who I want to target. I don't want to spend more money. I want to target, I'll spend the same money, but I just want to target those people. So give them the opportunities to do that. And one of the areas I've already touched on that's very simple is segmented e-newsletters that go out to your key target audiences that are on subject matter that's specifically interesting to them. We have had one of our clients introduced a new e-newsletter monthly to 5 vertical segments of their market, so vertical industry sectors. Each newsletter had 2 display opportunities, 1 content opportunity, 1 job of the month in that particular vertical sector, 1 employer profile, and that's made out 5 advertising opportunities in that newsletter times 12 months. That's 60 advertising opportunities times the 5 segments. That's 300 new opportunities they've added into the inventory. It doesn't take a genius to work out that even if you're charging relatively low amounts for that, that's a significant increase to your bottom line. Rethink your approach to your main website. Again, it goes back to rethinking your inventory, opening up inventory. Loads of our clients restrict where adverts and where revenue opportunities can appear online. I think that that was absolutely fine, possibly when everyone was getting in higher revenues elsewhere. But I think now's the time to go back to your councils, go back to committees and start talking to them about the future and where they might need to open up revenue opportunities in the future. And don't ignore the digital swing. It's happening right now. Print's holding up amazingly within the membership sector, but its strength is curated content, contained, valued, appreciated, tangible. It works great as a membership benefit and a communications tool for you guys, but it's only part of the mix today. It's creative, measurable, flexible, and tailored advertising that's leading the growth in revenues and where you need to be thinking about offering opportunities. And my final point, which is possibly the most important, is you've got to start offering a portfolio sell. With loads of our clients, loads of our people we talk to, revenue pots are siloed, often in different departments. You might have a sponsorship team, you might have a publishing team, a training team, advertising, sales, sponsorship, events, all in separate teams with lots of different people, not in a joined up way, talking to lots of different people in a not very joined up way. Give your advertisers one single point of contact. It doesn't have to be one sales team, it doesn't have to be outsourced, it doesn't have to be just one team of people internally, but one central pot of information about how advertisers can target your members across print, digital and events, and the different inventory ranges that are available to them. So in summary, it's all about content, it's all about partnerships, it's not about flogging pages anymore, it's about an integrated portfolio sell, and it's about data and research. And those are the four key things that our teams are concentrating on as we move forward. We do research every year into a range of different aspects within the publishing sector for membership, and we have a round table coming up in November, which is relatively small. I think it's only about 12 organisations going to be taking part, talking specifically about advertising and sponsorship in 2017 and moving forward for the professional membership sector. We have a separate event for consumer coming up. If you would like to register interest in attending that event, it's a free to attend event. The results of it will be published. I think they're coming out by the end of the year or in early next year. You're more than welcome. Our stand is out there somewhere. We're called Think. So please do register if you'd like to take part in a round table discussing advertising more. And really, as I said, what it's all about is print, digital and events, all one multi-channel portfolio sell. But the final thing I'll leave you with is it's also got to be sold by a really good salesperson, a motivated, trained, relationship salesperson who will represent your brand correctly, has the right tools, the right approach, and will build the right relationships on your behalf. Without the salespeople, you're nothing. Thank you.
And what I'd say, Ian, just a question for you. You know, when you obviously you're working with a number of membership organisations. In terms of bear traps, is there anything that you're seeing kind of those organisations maybe wanting to do or doing that maybe they really shouldn't be doing? Just is there anything that springs to mind? Because I know we've talked about the must-do things. What shouldn't we do?
It's not really so much what people aren't doing. It's not so much bad things that people are doing. It's what they're not doing.
Okay.
And I think the key thing is, I didn't quite touch on it there, is a lot of the time we're trying to sell inventory that the people regulating that inventory don't even understand. So we're often get blocked at a very sort of junior level within the organisation because no, our council would never allow this, they would never allow that. And often what we're doing is we're saying to our clients, but your council don't even know what's going on. They don't even know what the future is. So without knowing that, how can they still be blocking what is now actually old hat, straightforward display advertising on a website? It's everywhere, and yet we still get blocked at a very sort of simplistic level. So I think it's opening up, being innovative, I think is the biggest challenge.
Okay, well that kind of is quite actually a nice lead into our next session actually. So I'd just like to thank Ian for his session. I think that was really interesting in terms of the content. So if you just thank him for that session, that'd be great.